You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Hi folks, and welcome to the Ace Tanker for the 110, the Tier 8 Chinese heavy tank. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking I'm a little bit salty about World of Tanks right now, judging from all those screenshots before the introduction. And you're right. Yeah, I admit we all have lost streaks, we all have bad days. The problem is that those screenshots were all from one day. Yeah. 8 games, 8 losses. Those were the 8 games. And I rage quit. And I didn't feel like playing World of Tanks or even talking about World of Tanks or recording World of Tanks for 4 or 5 days afterwards. But, yeah, like the idiot I am, I logged back in. About a week later, and 10 games, 8 losses. So, I rage quit again with exactly the same issue. Didn't feel like playing World of Tanks, didn't feel like talking about World of Tanks, didn't feel like recording World of Tanks. And the problem is that this loss streak, I admit everyone has losing streaks, everyone has, bad days, but this loss streak that I've been on has been going on for nearly 2 months. And even though my W8 rating has actually increased incredibly over that time, my win rate has been absolutely terrible. So, it's not as if I'm playing badly. My WN8 is either consistent or it's better than it, average, but my win rate is absolutely terrible. And I'm not a good enough player to carry games. I'm not a Unicum. I make mistakes. I probably could have turned a lot of those losses into wins if I'd been a better player, but at the moment, every time I play, it feels as though, even if I have a bad game, we manage to lose. It's not that I go into a game now thinking, okay, I'm going to have a big game if we're going to win. No, it feels that even if I have a big game, we're going to lose. So, yeah, I'm a little bit salty at the moment, and I feel that the general standard of play, even at the higher tiers, has nosedived recently. Now, I have gotten away. I've had good days during this period, but those days I've been platooned, and it feels that the only way I can actually have good days in World of Tanks now is if I'm platooned. So, yeah, maybe it's just me. But this loss streak feels to have been going on for months now, and yeah, I'm a little bit salty, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be bringing World of Tanks content to the channel, but it's possible if there's been a break of a couple of days without a video, there's a good chance that I've had a bad day playing World of Tanks, and as a result, I don't feel like talking about it. But anyway, yeah, as I say, this is the Ace Tanker for the 110, which is one of my curse tanks. I like the 110, I actually do like the 110, and there was a period of time where I actually preferred driving the 110 over the IS-3. but the IS-3 got buffed, and now the 110 is severely underpowered compared to the IS-3. But yeah, a lot of people compare these tanks, so what's the difference between this tank, it looks a little bit like an IS-3, and the IS-3? Well, this is kind of like an IS-3 prototype, because historically speaking, the 110 is an upgraded IS-2. So in the 1950s, Russia were selling their surplus IS-2s to China. And along with those surplus IS-2s, they also sent along designs made to maybe upgrade the IS-2s into something a little bit more modern along the lines of the IS-3 that Russia were currently using. So the plans were to basically change the IS-2s that currently existed into something more similar to IS-3s. It was kind of a prototype design, and it was a prototype tank because only a prototype was built. And you can see that basically the hull and the engine power, the tracks, everything else, they were kind of from the IS-2, but the front hull was designed to be a pike nose, kind of a prototype design before the IS-3's pike nose was settled on. And the turret was designed to be changed from the IS-2 into something that gave a lot more rounded armor and more protection. So the turret armor was much better, the frontal armor was much better. Now the reason the tank never made it beyond prototype is the gun, simply the gun. It is an upgraded IS-2 with an upgraded turret frontal hull, but the gun was still the original 122mm D25T, at least by the design. So that gun was considered obsolete by the 1950s when the Chinese were playing around with the prototype, and rather than spending a lot of time and effort trying to mount a new gun that wasn't the IS-2 gun on this tank, they decided to scrap the project and go for, medium, fast mobile tanks like the Type 59 instead. So this gun that's on the tank in World of Tanks, the final gun, is 100mm, but it actually historically was supposed to come with 122mm because it's basically an upgraded IS-2, or perhaps maybe a prototype IS-3. But so this gun, I don't know where this 100mm came from, but yeah, only one was ever built. It was a prototype, and that's about all the information I have on the tank because it's a Chinese tank, and Chinese tanks don't have a lot of information out on the internet about them. So anyway, we are here on, what's this map? This is Windstorm, and we are going to go now. The 110 was one of my curse tanks. It really was one of my curse tanks because I spent a lot of games, had this tank for a long time, and couldn't ace it. Couldn't ace this tank for the life of me, and this was a game played on a day I was having a bad day, so I expected to lose this game, but at this point I'd stop caring. But we are just advancing now. The IS-3 compared to this tank, as I say, once upon a time I did prefer driving this tank over the IS-3 because this tank at one point had better frontal armor than the IS-3 did. Slightly worse turret armor, but slightly better frontal armor. But the IS-3 got buffed. And as a result, yeah, this tank, it really isn't competitive against the IS-3 anymore. There was a brief period of time where I preferred this tank, but not anymore. Now the main issue, or the main difference between this tank and the IS-3 is the gun. The frontal hull armor, believe it or not, is better on the 110 than it is on the IS-3 by about 10mm on the peak, but it does have a bigger lower glacis here. And you saw me fail to track the T-34. That's actually something that is important to note. Hey, we tracked him on the second attempt, but yeah, this gun, it does less module damage because it is 100mm compared to the 122 on the IS-3. It does less module damage, it does less alpha damage. Hey, we picked up our first kill there, but you can see that the 100mm only has 320 damage compared to 390 alpha damage on the IS-3. But I'm playing really aggressively in town here, and we do 339. Now, if that had been an IS-3, we would have done possibly 400 damage, but the alpha damage is a big difference. So we took a hit from the Super Pershing, but we're playing really aggressively. There's no RT, by the way. That's going to be important when you see the endgame results, but, we're side-scraping, we're putting shots in. I probably could have been angled a little bit better. I'm really surprised the T-29 penned me there, but we've managed to pick up kill number 2. So, yeah, the IS-3 has more penetration by about 10. It has more alpha damage, but it has less DPM. So this tank... Oh, surprised the super Pershing went for me again. But, yeah, this tank, it's all about its DPM. It's all about its rate of fire. So... Oh, hello? What? Hello, Mr. IS-3. Did you have an accident? Yeah. So while the DPM is better on this tank, that's down to the rate of fire. So you get better rate of fire, you get better accuracy with the 100mm than you do with the 122mm. Now I'm completely tunnel visioned. Oh no, I'm not tunnel visioned. I just realized there's a Type 59 behind me, but this IS-3 is helpless. I just want to feast on him. Is the Type 59 coming? So again, I'm reverse side scraping. Is he gonna poke? Is he gonna poke? He is! We got one shot in. And we reverse side scrape him, so he's fallen back into cover. Now surely, he's on 49 health, he's not gonna poke again. We're just gonna continue feasting on this IS-3. Yep, no sign of the Type 59, so we're just continuing to feast here. I'm thinking maybe he's gonna flank me. Oh, you cheeky little bugger. Okay, so he popped out on 49 health. Damaged my engine, I need to use a repair kit. He's not going to be stupid enough to poke. Oh, he is, okay. And while I was dealing with that cheeky little Type 59, someone killed the IS-3 I was feasting on, so yeah. But you can see the rate of fire here. Even though you got less alpha damage, less penetration than the IS-3, you get far better rate of fire, you get far better aim time. But that's only on paper, because the soft stats for the IS-3 are actually better. Even though the IS-3 doesn't have as good an aim time, doesn't have as much accuracy. You can see a shot in the move there, but the IS-3 is actually better at shooting on the move. So all the soft stats, shooting on the move, shooting while traversing the turret, shooting while traversing the hull, shooting after firing, all of those stats on the IS-3 are better than they are on the 110. So we're just feasting again here. Tiger 2 to my left. But you can see we're being very, very aggressive. We've done 4,500 damage. And, you know, even though we've only got 215mm of pen compared to the IS-3's 225, we were able to pen the lower glacis on a T10, dealing damage to Tier 9 tanks. So, yeah, come on, just waiting, that T10, I'm waiting for someone to proxy spot that T10, but it doesn't seem to be happening. And I just got spotted myself, so I know he's still around this corner. Okay, someone's moving in, someone needs to spot him. Okay, he's been spotted. Which way is he looking? He's still looking at... No, he's not looking at me. I thought he was looking at me. So we aim, and unfortunately, he angles really, really badly just as we fire and we bounce, so... Yeah. Oh, Tiger 2. So now I've got two T10s, and I've got a pretty much Tiger 2 on a lot of health here. Another Tier 8 heavy. I'm only on 679 health. He's got over twice the health I have. So I'm not too inclined to actually go around this corner now. I think he's using a stock turret, but I actually didn't realize this while I was playing the game. If I'd realized he had a stock turret, I probably would have been a little bit more aggressive, but my actual concern right now is not the Tiger 2, it's the T10, who has basically been pointing his turret at me since I shot him twice. He's a one-hit kill, but the T10, I'm kind of worried he's flanking me. You can see me glancing behind. I'm not that worried. I'm waiting for the Tiger 2 to move up. I decide to track the Tiger 2, and I'm wondering where this T10 is. Surely he can't still be waiting for me. Oh, he's still waiting for me. Alright. Well, we ended up taking another hit, but yeah, that takes me down to 304 damage, or health, and I'm a one-hit kill. There's still another T10. As you can see, I'm staying safe from him. There's still a Tiger 2. I wait till I proxy spot the Tiger 2. I know he's coming for me. So I'm just a little bit worried. You can see me looking at the T10. The T10 just took out, or he's just shooting at a Black Prince now, I believe. So T10 looks as if he's busy. Tiger 2 is coming. I'm reversing. I want to... Oh, bloody hell. Yeah. Okay, I thought the T10 was busy with the Black Prince. I was going to break contact, get out of proxy spot range from the Tiger 2, but T10 was aware. He came back, he shot me. He's a good player. So now we've got a T10 and a Tiger 2 versus a Super Pershing and a Black Prince. T10 on paper seems to be quite a strong player, so Black Prince is hull down. He's actually playing his tank to its strengths, staying hull down, but trying to pen a T10 from this distance with a Black Prince. Yeah, it's not gonna go well. And I thought, yeah, this is going to be another loss. This is going to be another flaming loss. We've just done over 5k damage. I've picked up 4 kills. I made a mistake. I ended up getting shot by a T10, took a risk, died for it, and we're going to lose the flaming game because this is how my games have been going for the last couple of months. But, yeah, this Black Prince, I have absolutely no faith. Mainly down to the tanks. The player skill is not, is not amazing either, but that's just on paper. The tanks, the Black Prince, no match against a T10. Tier 7 versus Tier 9. And the Black Prince is not a strong Tier 7 heavy, so I switched my view over to the Super Pershing because the Super Pershing's taking on a Tiger and they both have about the same health. Super Pershing misses a shot in the move, Tiger shooting spaced armor, and at this point I realized the Tiger had a stock turret and I was going, oh bugger. Well, it didn't matter, I didn't have any turret shots on the Tiger in the first place, but alright, now the Super Pershing is giving his weakest armor. Instead of keeping a sloped armor to the Tiger, he's trying to circle a Tiger in a Super Pershing, but he actually got away with it. Now he's face-hugging with his spaced armor, and the Tiger 2 is trying to get away, so he's got the side of the Tiger 2. Tiger 2's got problems with the spaced armor. The Super Pershing, what a boss, sets the Tiger 2 on fire, doesn't even look at the explosion. Oh wow, and I'm thinking, okay, now I thought it was going to be a loss, now it's possibly a win, but please don't go take on the T10. Alright, Super Pershing, thank you. Don't go and take on the T10. I know you're not a fast tank, but you've got to get to cap. T10 is still dealing with the Black Prince. Go for cap, try and get into the cap. Only cap when there's a chance of losing the game. Okay, T10's killed the Black Prince, and yeah, now the Super Pershing's got into cap, and I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and the T10 is not capping, so that means that the Super Pershing, even if the T10 tried to cap, the Super Pershing is going to win because he was in the cap circle for 5 seconds before the enemy started capping. So, alright, he's just got to sit here for 1 or 2 minutes, so 1 minute 20 seconds. So, and then there's about 4 or 5 seconds at the end of the cap when you get to 100%, where the enemy have a chance of killing you, and if they manage to kill you in that 3 or 4 seconds after the cap is completed, they actually win the game. So, yeah, but I'm thinking, okay, I am having such a bad day. I've lost so many games. Come on, Super Pershing. No, stop reversing. Don't reverse out of the cap. You just gotta sit here. T10 is a fast, heavy tank. That's actually its biggest strength, or one of its biggest strengths. So there's a very good chance that T10 is gonna get back here in time. But the Super Pershing's gone into a very safe position. T10's not going to spot him unless he gets into proxy spot range. 30 seconds. Come on. Let this, for the life of me, be an actual win. I have lost so many flaming games today. Let me win. The 110 has been cursed. I like playing the 110. I now prefer the IS-3. But it's a cursed tank. Could never ace this tank. But 5k should do it, and I was shooting a lot of tier 9. So, come on. 7, 5... 4, 3, 2, 1. Finish capping. And oh, T10 showed up. And oh, thank you. Oh, it's a win. Finally. Whew. Okay, so yeah, 110. It's taken me a lot of games to ace this tank, and I don't know why, because I actually do enjoy playing the 110. I think it's a pretty solid tier 8 heavy. Its penetration's going to lack a little bit against some tier 9s, some tier 10, well, a lot of tier 10s, but on the other hand, it's about as fast and maneuverable as the IS-3 is. It's actually a little bit faster on paper, but the IS-3 gets slightly better ground resistance on soft ground, but on medium terrain, the 110 is actually slightly better. The power to weight ratio and the horsepower of the IS-3 are better than the 110, but as I say, the IS-3 got buffed, so I mean, there was a time when I felt that the 110 was a little bit stronger, at least frontally, armor-wise, and it does have more DPM. The 110 has more DPM than the IS-3, even though it doesn't do as much alpha damage, but thanks to that higher rate of fire, the 110 actually has about 2,000 DPM compared to about 1,800 on the IS-3 off the top of my head. So yeah, the 110, I still think it's a pretty good tank, but you know, I would rather drive the IS-3, even though I did flirt with the 110 for a while. And yeah, this was a win and an ace on a day where I was losing game after game after game, and I really thought this was going to be a loss as well. But hey, we did it. So well played to that Super Pershing, and again showing that, you know, this player was not very strong on paper, but yet he managed to do 4,520 damage with his Super Pershing. He managed to have a big XP game, bigger than I did, and he was shooting tier 9s as well, so well played to him. The Stornger, or the is that Stornger War? I have no idea whether that's the name or whether that's a spelling mistake, but well played to him. So yeah, didn't finish first, finished second in the 110, tier 8, tier 9 game. 1483 XP, 5k damage, 4 kills, happy with that. Happy with just getting a flaming win. I mean, I could have done 10 damage in that game, and as long as we won the day I was having it would have been a good result. But fire 22, hit 21. So yeah, the accuracy on the 110 is better than it is on the IS-3. We only bend 18 of 21, so if you're shooting lower tier tanks, if you're shooting weak spots, I think the penetration is just fine. The only time it really struggles is against some tier 10s and the occasional tier 9 frontally. But yeah, happy with the damage. Hits received 7 and 2 bounces, although a couple of shots, I think one shot was absorbed by the tracks. So yeah, the armor, not amazing. In fact, on paper, the IS-3 has much better armor. Well, on paper, the 110 has much better armor, technically. Frontal hull armor, but I just feel that the spaced armor on the IS-3 gives it more protection when side scraping. I took a couple of shots while side scraping that I probably would have expected to bounce in a IS-3, but didn't manage to bounce in the 110. We damaged 9, destroyed 4, and did 246 assistance, because even though I was trying to track enemy tanks, we ended up killing everything we were spotting, and because I wasn't firing any premium, we ended up earning 37,000 credits with a premium account. But yeah, I haven't been having the best of win rates in World of Tanks recently. I've been very disappointed with the standard of play, especially at higher tier. I mean, I expected it low to mid tier, but not at high tier. Yep, there's nothing I can do about it other than platoon, and unfortunately, sometimes, you know, the hours I keep at the moment, my platoon mates aren't regularly around, which is sad, and it means that I've got to play solo. So for any of you guys out there who do play solo, I really, really do feel for you guys, and let me know if you're a solo player, whether or not you struggle like I do, or whether it's just the look of the Irish. Having incredibly bad luck over the last couple of months regarding win rates. But yep, anyway, that's the 110 Ace Tanker. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.